Welcome back once again to your EMCHUMate YouTube channel. Last time I had a discussion with the focus area of English textbook portions for your final examination. And by the way, the last segment in the focus area is a poem called Rise by Prof.Chemmanam Chacko, translated by Dr. K Ayyappa Paniker. And we stopped when the narrator realized that he was dreaming his nostalgic feelings in the train itself, and he is asking the train to run faster, and he could have reached his native village earlier, and he could have eaten his favorite Attikara meal. The train stopped, wherefrom he alighted a bus, entered into a bus, and the bus stops on the road across from the house. He reached near his native village. When I left this place, now he is trying to explain to us the changes that he had taken during the time span of 4 years. When I left this place for North India to get my doctoral degree, he could see palm thatched houses. Houses which were having roofs of palm leaves. In the distance on the right, but now there is no such houses are seen. Now there are no such houses. Which houses? Palm thatched houses are not seen. They were completely disappeared. Except for trees. But only trees. How the place has changed during the period of 4 years. The next stanza is having 4 lines. So in the places where rubber plants twice my height, the narrator is telling, twice double his height, rubber plants now stand in rows around me on the ridge, on the side of the way. Where modern and well-iron used to be sown. So before 4 years, on the same place where varieties of rice titled or called modern rice and well-iron rice were supposed to be sown, planted there for the cultivation of food crops. Had it confused my path as I walk home. So from the bus stop, he has to walk a little distance to his house. While he was walking those distance, a little distance to his house, he could realize so many changes had happened in the place during the time span of 4 years. No palm thatched houses could be seen. Instead of food crops, cash crops like rubber plants were seen by the ridge, on the ridge of the paths, twice the narrator's height, and the varieties of rice plants or rice plants like modern and well-iron were not at all seen. Then we go to the next stanza. There is no bustle of men below, because before 4 years below the field near his house, there was a bustle of men making sound, No shouts of plowing, oxen's running sound, and shouting of the farmers sound. And when I look, the whole field is planted over with arecanut palms. Arecanut palm. Arecanut palm is also arecanut. Palms is also a Malayalam word. And in the corner along the canal, Warangal Canal, stand the dealwood trees. Now try to understand cash crops or money crops. Arecanut palms and dealwood trees. And also other rubber plants. These are cash crops. So cash crops have taken the place of the food crops, paddy fields. Let us go for the another stanza. I enter the house. The narrator enters the house beyond the southern wing side of his house. My father is watching people fixing up a machine. Father is not in the field. Father is watching some people fixing up the machine for flattening rubber sheets, for making rubber sheets. How happy father was, how uncontented, how satisfied father was, the look on his father's face. The father's face was very happy. The father's face seemed very satisfied because by changing from cash crops to by changing from food crops to cash crops made men very happy. They can earn more profit and money. Life is very comfortable. Now, we will pass on to the next stanza. That is comprised of 6 lines. When he sees his son, the narrator, back from North India after 4 years gap, father says, with the obvious means in the glossary I told you, clear pride. He is very proud of his existence. With the pride, with the obvious, clear pride. Son. Father is addressing the narrator, son, we have stopped working on all the rice. All the varieties of rice crops. We have stopped working on all the rice. And it was inconvenient. Rice cultivation is not convenient. It is inconvenient. The farmer gained nothing. Only his food he gained. And also he is satirizing. He is talking against paddy field cultivation or paddy cultivation in the fields. And he is telling only fools turn to rice farming for gain. If you want to gain something in life, only fool will turn to rice farming. He is criticizing the rice farming. He is against rice farming. This is better money. What is better money? Cash crops. Better money. What good times. And another thing is that the government gives the rice to those who do not have paddy fields. That is all. So actually father is substantiating his will to change from food crops to cash crops. Father is giving a very detailed logical reasons. Very detailed logical reasons for what is called changing his attitude from food crops to cash crops. And cash crops give them better money and the farmers will have good times. The another thing is that if farmers do not have paddy fields, the government will give them rice. Then what is wrong with the changing from this attitude from food crops to cash crops. We will pass on to the next stanza. My little brother, younger brother of the narrator, runs to meet the narrator, runs to meet me. And the narrator, I, eager to have a full meal of Atikara rice. Actually, the narrator came to his native village, especially to his home, to have a meal of Atikara rice after having been tired of eating chapatis day after day. He is carrying, actually, his brother is carrying the rations for the whole household. And he stumbles over something and scatters the wheat all over the yard. You look at that, is the satirism Chemmanam Chacko is bringing here. Kerala is better known for the rice bowl, especially one of the districts of Kerala. And the farmer's attitude from changing from food crops to cash crops, and also trying to underline and express the view that the farmers who do not have a paddy fields or cultivation of rice, government gives them rice. And by the time the narrator, who is very eager to write the meal of Atikara rice, is meeting his little brother, runs to meet the narrator, bringing the ration for the whole household, and by the time he trips over something and scatters the wheat all over the front yard of the house. Then another satirical stanza which goes is, above us, above, on the sky, a ship of the sky. We know ship of the desert is camel. Now, above these characters, father, brother, mother, and narrator, in the sky, above them, a ship of the sky, aeroplane, is flying northwards to the central government, making roaring sound, roars northwards, drowning my brother's loud cries. Actually, when the little brother tumbled over something and fell on the ground, by the time the brother cried louder, and that louder sound of the cry of the little brother is completely abolished by the roaring sound of the aeroplane, which flies very fast northwards. And who is traveling in the aeroplane, the ship of the sky? The chief ministers. The chief ministers, off like an arrow. Actually, he is flying like an arrow very fast to the center to clamor, to cry for more grains, more food items. Now flying high above the cash crops also. You see, once upon a time, all the fields were mainly devoted for food crops. Now the farmers have completely stopped cultivating food crops, especially rice. And another satire is that the chief minister of Kerala is flying like an arrow to the center to shout and cry for more grains, now flying high above cash crops, which were once replaced earlier by food crops. Now growing tall like trees, now growing tall like the trees, since no one here promotes the farming of rice. So the village has already stopped farming rice or cultivating rice or agriculture of rice, and they have changed to cash crops like arecanut palms, teak wood trees and rubber plantations. And the last two lines stanza is very sarcasm of the poet is shown. And the narrator is asking, so the farmers have changed. Actually, he had gone to the North India with the chance of promoting more opportunities for employment for youth and getting more husk from agriculture of especially cultivating rice. That is what we call it as husk, the hard outer cover of rice. So finally, the poem ends with the sarcastic lines asked by the narrator, which was the aim of the poet Chemmanam Chacko. Can we get some husk from the center to make toys with the husk? And the narrator ends, I don't know. So listen here. It's a very sarcastical and satirical poem which laments or criticizes the changing of the attitude of farmers from food crops to cash crops. Think about the poem is irregular in stanza. Some stanzas are having 5 lines, 2 lines, 6 lines, and it is having irregular, and it is a prose poem. It is not a verse poem, it is a prose poem, and also the language is very simple, very straightforward, and loose, very easy to understand. That is what we come to understand about this poem, and very important for the examination point of view. Students, please watch this one, and later classes I will send you very important activity notes and think and respond answers I will be sending you, and please be in touch with it. Try to share, subscribe and like the videos, and wish you all the best. Thank you.